Tamar reveals why Evelyn Towanda are desperate to keep Ashlee off the family show. The warning signs were everywhere, but nobody was ready for this. At exactly the moment the Braxton name started trending for healing and legacy, Tamar Braxton detonated a truth so explosive it ripped the mask off the entire family dynamic. This wasn't shade. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a controlled demolition of a secret they've been guarding for decades. And it all centers around one name they never wanted spoken out loud on camera: Ashlee. Because according to Tamar, the reason Ashlee has been mysteriously erased from the family show has nothing to do with timing, contracts, or creative direction. It's fear. Raw, desperate fear. Fear that once Ashlee gets a microphone, the version of the Braxton story the public knows will collapse in real time. Fear that the tears won't be performative. Fear that the truth won't be manageable. Fear that the cameras will catch what prayers and silence couldn't bury. When Tamar went live, her voice didn't shake from sadness, it shook from rage. She accused Evelyn and Towanda of working behind the scenes, pressuring producers, rewriting narratives, and quietly cutting Ashlee out, because she represents the one storyline they cannot control. Alleged messages surfaced. Alleged meetings happened. Alleged warnings were given. And suddenly, fans realized this wasn't about family unity, it was about containment. The internet didn't just react. It combusted. Old clips resurfaced. Past seasons were reanalyzed. And one terrifying question echoed across every platform: what are they so afraid Ashlee will say? Because if Tamar's telling the truth, this isn't a reality show dispute. It's a reckoning. And it's just getting started. The moment Tamar hit go live, everything changed. This wasn't one of her emotional vent sessions. This wasn't tears and gospel music in the background. This was cold, controlled fury. Her eyes were locked on the screen like she'd been waiting years for this exact second, and when she spoke, it felt like the floor dropped out from under the Braxton legacy. She didn't warm up. She didn't ease in. She went straight for the jugular. "You'll keep asking why Ashlee ain't on that show," she said, jaw tight. "And I'm tired of lying for people who never protected her." Within seconds, the viewer count exploded. Fans sensed it instantly. This wasn't drama for clicks. This was a family secret cracking open in real time. Tamar claimed that while the public was being sold a glossy reboot about healing and sisterhood, there was a coordinated effort happening behind closed doors to make sure Ashlee never made it in front of those cameras. Not reduced screen time. Not edited down. Completely erased. And according to Tamar, the orders didn't come from the network. They came from inside the family. She alleged Evelyn and Towanda held private calls with producers, warning them that Ashlee was too unpredictable, that she carried emotional baggage that could derail the brand. But Tamar didn't stop there. She leaned closer to the camera and said the quiet part out loud. "They are not scared of her emotions. They are scared of her memory." That line alone sent shockwaves across social media. Clips were ripped and reposted within minutes. Fans immediately started asking what Ashlee knew that the rest of the family didn't want revisited. Tamar claimed Ashlee had already been greenlit. Meetings attended. Wardrobe fittings done. Storylines mapped out. One in particular made the chat explode. An on-camera conversation between Ashlee and Towanda about old family decisions that were never discussed during the original run of the show. Tamar said once Evelyn saw the outline, everything stopped. Scripts were rewritten. Emails went silent. Ashlee's calls stopped getting returned. One day she was family. The next, she was a liability. Then Tamar dropped what she called receipts. She held up printed pages and scrolled through emails on her phone, alleging they showed Ashlee's name listed in early production drafts. She claimed handwritten notes appeared later in red ink, remove before table read. Tone concerns. Evelyn uncomfortable. The chat went berserk. Fans weren't just reacting emotionally anymore. They were investigating, screenshotting, zooming in, comparing timelines. Tamar's voice cracked, but not from weakness. From fury. She said Ashlee spent her whole life being told to stay quiet for the sake of family peace. That every time she asked to be included, she was labeled too much. Too emotional. Too complicated. Too risky. Tamar said that wasn't protection. It was punishment. And then she aimed directly at Towanda. She accused her of choosing silence over her own child, of sitting in meetings and saying nothing while Ashlee's role was stripped away piece by piece. That accusation hit like a grenade. Fans flooded Towanda's pages demanding answers. Old clips resurfaced of family scenes where Ashlee stood in the background, barely acknowledged. People started stitching together moments that suddenly looked less accidental and more intentional. One viral video slowed down a reunion episode where Ashlee attempted to speak and was talked over, the camera cutting away seconds later. Another showed Evelyn physically repositioning herself to block Ashlee from frame. What once looked like coincidence now looked calculated. Meanwhile, Ashlee herself stayed silent. And that silence became louder by the hour. Tamar said Ashlee begged not to do this publicly. She claimed her niece was terrified of being painted as the villain again. But Tamar said she refused to let history repeat itself. "I won't let another Braxton woman be erased for telling the truth," she said. Not this time. As the live ended, hashtags exploded. #Let Ashlee Speak shot to the top of trending. Blogs scrambled to verify Tamar's claims. Producers were reportedly fielding frantic calls. And then, just when it felt like the fire couldn't burn hotter, Ashlee posted a single black screen on Instagram with white text. "Silence kept the peace for everyone but me." No explanation. No tags. Just that sentence. Fans lost their minds. Within hours, insiders started whispering. One alleged production source claimed Evelyn had threatened to walk if Ashlee remained in the cast. Another said legal teams were brought in over fears that Ashlee might reference past family trauma on camera. The phrase, legal exposure, began circulating online, and that's when the tone shifted from gossip to something darker. Because if this was really about legal risk, then Ashlee wasn't just being excluded. She was being contained. And just as the pressure reached a boiling point, Towanda finally posted. Not an explanation. Not a denial. Just a muted Instagram story with a soft quote about healing in private. The backlash was instant and brutal. Fans accused her of hiding behind spirituality instead of accountability. Tamar reposted the story with a caption that said everything. Silence is a choice. Behind the scenes, the show itself started wobbling. Rumors surfaced that producers were re-editing footage. A teaser trailer quietly disappeared from the network's page without explanation. And then came the message that sent chills through the fandom. Tamar hinted that if Ashlee wasn't brought back, she was done. Completely. No more filming. No more pretending. The family was fracturing in real time, and the truth was clawing its way out. And just when everyone thought Tamar had said everything she could possibly say, Ashlee finally broke her silence. Not with anger. Not with accusations. But with one shaky video that would change the entire narrative and expose exactly why they never wanted her mic turned on. Ashlee's video didn't start the way people expected. No dramatic music. No rant. No makeup. Just her sitting alone, shoulders tense, eyes already tired like she'd been carrying this moment for years. When she finally spoke, her voice barely held together. "I wasn't going to say anything," she began, "because every time I speak, I'm told I'm hurting the family." That sentence alone flipped the entire conversation. This wasn't about fame. This wasn't about airtime. This was about survival. She confirmed what Tamar had hinted at but hadn't fully said. Yes, she had been invited to the reboot. Yes, she had gone through casting. Yes, she had filmed test scenes. And yes, she was cut after one private meeting she was never allowed to attend. Ashlee said she found out the same way fans did, by noticing her name missing from internal schedules and unanswered messages. When she finally pushed for clarity, she was told it wasn't the right season for her story. She paused, swallowed hard, and then said the line that made even Tamar go quiet. "My story has never been the right season because it exposes theirs." Social media detonated. Fans who had been on the fence suddenly picked a side. Clips of Ashlee's calm delivery went viral because it wasn't messy. It was measured. Painfully controlled. And that's when the narrative shifted from family drama to something much heavier. Ashlee alleged that the real issue wasn't conflict, it was content. Specifically, what she remembered. What she'd lived. What she'd been asked to lie about growing up. She didn't spell it all out, but she didn't need to. She referenced family meetings where the cameras were off, stories that never made it past confessionals, and decisions made for me, about me, without me. Fans immediately started connecting dots to long-standing rumors the family had always danced around. Old interviews resurfaced. Contradictions were clipped side by side. Moments that once felt awkward now felt intentional. Then came the insider leaks. An anonymous production assistant claimed that during early planning meetings, there was a clear rule: no revisiting unresolved past issues involving Ashlee. Another alleged that Evelyn specifically warned executives that Ashlee was emotionally volatile and could shift public sympathy in dangerous ways. That phrase, dangerous ways, spread like wildfire. Dangerous to who? The brand. The truth. The carefully polished image of a matriarch who'd built her legacy on control. Tawanda's role came back under the microscope. Fans replayed Ashlee's line about calling her mother the day she was cut. According to Ashlee, she asked one simple question: "Did you know?" And Towanda didn't answer right away. That pause, Ashlee said, told her everything. Online, that pause became symbolic. People dissected Tawanda's past behavior, her pattern of deflection, her habit of hiding behind neutrality when confrontation was required. Tamar added fuel to the fire by releasing a voice note Towanda had allegedly sent her weeks earlier. In it, Tawanda's voice sounded exhausted, resigned. She said something that shook the internet to its core: "You know how Mama is. Some things are bigger than feelings." Tamar captioned it with one brutal sentence: "That's how silence gets passed down." The backlash turned ferocious. Evelyn's comment sections became unmanageable. Brands quietly distanced themselves. Church appearances were suddenly postponed. And still, Evelyn said nothing. No denial. No clarification. Just carefully curated scripture posts about peace and obedience. Fans weren't buying it anymore. They accused her of weaponizing religion to avoid accountability, of hiding behind faith while controlling everyone around her. Then the unthinkable happened. A never-aired clip from the original show leaked. The quality was rough, clearly not meant for public consumption. In it, Evelyn was caught on a hot mic speaking to a producer, unaware she was still being recorded. Her voice was calm, but her words were chilling. She said Ashlee wasn't ready for the spotlight, and that some truths don't need a platform. The producer nervously laughed. Evelyn didn't. She doubled down, saying certain things could destroy everything we built. That clip changed everything. Tamar reposted it without commentary. She didn't need to add anything. The implication was clear. This wasn't about protecting Ashlee. It was about protecting a legacy at all costs. VH1 went silent. The teaser vanished. Insiders whispered about emergency meetings and legal consultations. One anonymous exec allegedly said the situation had become untenable. And then Tamar made her boldest move yet. She hinted, without fully confirming, that she would walk away entirely if Ashlee wasn't reinstated. Not negotiate. Not compromise. Walk. That threat sent shockwaves through the production. Because without Tamar, there was no reboot. And without the reboot, the family brand, already cracked, would collapse completely. Fans held their breath, waiting to see who would blink first. And just when it seemed like the family might retreat into silence again, Ashlee posted one final message late that night. No video. No tears. Just text. I was never afraid of the truth. I was afraid of losing my family for telling it. That sentence hit harder than any allegation. Because it made one thing terrifyingly clear. Whatever Ashlee was holding back wasn't small. And the reason they fought so hard to keep her off camera wasn't fear of drama. It was fear of exposure. The fallout didn't creep in quietly. It crashed. Overnight, insiders started whispering that the network wasn't just reconsidering the cast, they were reconsidering the entire concept. Executives reportedly realized that the story viewers wanted wasn't another polished family dinner or surface-level reconciliation. It was Ashlee. Her absence had become louder than any storyline they could script. And once the public smelled that kind of avoidance, there was no putting the genie back in the bottle. Then Tamar went live again. This time, she wasn't angry. She was calm, which somehow felt more dangerous. She sat still, stared straight into the camera, and said, "I've spent my whole life being told when to speak and when to shut up. I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm not letting Ashlee do it either." She confirmed what fans had been speculating all day. Yes, she had issued an ultimatum. Yes, she had told production she would not continue unless Ashlee was brought back, unedited, unmuted, and unprotected. No selective healing, Tamar said. No erasing. That statement sent the internet into a frenzy. Some fans praised her as the only one brave enough to break the cycle. Others accused her of blowing up the family for clout. Tamar didn't flinch. She dropped one final line that changed the tone completely. If telling the truth destroys us, then maybe we were built on lies. Silence followed. Heavy, uncomfortable silence. Behind the scenes, things were unraveling fast. A leaked internal email allegedly showed producers scrambling to restructure the show around a completely different premise, one that centered on generational accountability, instead of nostalgia. Another insider claimed legal teams were now involved, not because of Ashlee, but because of what she might reveal if given a platform. That detail alone confirmed everything fans had suspected. This wasn't about readiness. It was about risk. Towanda finally broke her silence, but not in the way people hoped. She posted a short video, eyes glossy, voice soft, saying she loved her daughter and wanted peace. She never denied knowing about Ashlee's removal. She never challenged Evelyn's authority. She framed everything as timing and boundaries. The comments were brutal. Viewers accused her of choosing comfort over courage, and then came the most shocking twist of all. A quiet announcement slipped out through a publishing insider. Ashlee had signed a deal. Not for a tell-all interview. Not for a one-off podcast. For a project she would control herself. A limited series. No network filter. No family approval. Just her voice. The working title leaked within hours and sent chills through the fanbase, unedited. Ashlee confirmed it the next day with a single post. No caption. Just the title and a black background. Tamar reposted it with a simple message: she's not asking anymore. That was the moment the power dynamic shifted for good. Because Ashlee no longer needed the family show. The family show needed her. VH1 officially announced the reboot was on pause. No timeline. No explanation. Industry insiders translated it immediately. It was over. Too much exposure. Too many receipts. Too many eyes watching. Evelyn's decades-long grip on the narrative had finally loosened, not because someone attacked her, but because someone she tried to erase refused to disappear. Towanda reportedly retreated from the spotlight. Tamar leaned into hers, unapologetic. And Ashlee? She went quiet. Not the kind of silence forced on her before, but intentional silence. The kind that comes before a storm. Fans knew better than to think this was the end. It was the beginning of something far bigger than a reality show. Because the truth Ashlee carried was never meant for confessionals or carefully edited scenes. It was meant to be told on her own terms. And the reason Evelyn and Towanda fought so hard to keep her off camera had finally become undeniable. They weren't afraid she would embarrass the family. They were afraid she would finally be believed. Before you click away, understand this: stories like this don't disappear because they are resolved. They disappear when people stop paying attention. And right now, attention is the only thing standing between the truth and another carefully buried chapter. What you just heard isn't gossip. It's a warning. When families with power decide who gets a voice and who gets erased, silence becomes the weapon. And Ashlee refusing to stay silent. That's the real threat. If you've made it this far, you're already part of this moment. Don't let it fade. Hit the like button, because the algorithm needs to know this story matters. Every like pushes this conversation further, into spaces where it can't be quietly swept away. Drop a comment and say exactly how you feel, whether you're Team Tamar, Team Ashlee, or still questioning everything, because the comment section is where the real dialogue happens, and trust me, people are watching it closely. And whatever you do, do not forget to subscribe. This situation is not over. Not even close. More leaks, more statements, and more reactions are coming, and when they drop, they will move fast. If you're not subscribed with notifications on, you will miss the moment everything shifts again, and by the time you catch up, the narrative will already be rewritten. Share this video with someone who's been following the Braxton saga from the beginning. Someone who knows this isn't just reality TV drama, it's about control, truth, and who gets to tell the story. Stay locked in. Because the people who tried to silence Ashlee never expected the world to be listening.